Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Two Homeschool Moms. I'm Nickie.
And I'm Ashlee. If you're looking for real, raw, and relatable moms who talk all things homeschool and mom life,
you're in the right place. All right, guys. Today we have a good one, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We're talking about homeschool expectations and setting realistic goals. But before we get into our topic, how was your weekend?
So my weekend started off awesome. We just got some stuff done around the house. And then to get in the Christmas spirit on Sunday, we went to this thing called Enchant. I don't know if they have it in other cities, but they basically take our baseball stadium and turn it into like a winter wonderland. So there's like ice skating, there's fake snow because we don't get real snow here. It's like foam. It's the weirdest stuff ever. There's like thousands of lights, like a maze, hot chocolate. And so we did that. But then like as we were there, Emma just started being like super weird. Like she didn't want any like treats or anything. And she wasn't like in a bad mood. And so when we got back home, I just like I was like, do I need to take your temperature? And I did. And she had a fever. And then in the middle of the night, Nico came in our room and he had a fever. And so that's what happens. It's just like dominoes. So like now Nico's out for the count.
Oh no.
Emma's better, but I know it's coming. And so like it will be staggered, all three of them. So hopefully though it's in enough time before Christmas, but it hit us.
That's the worst. I swear everyone is sick and something. The crud is definitely going around. So I just have to know, do like parents run around like yelling at their kids to not stick out their tongue for the fake snow because you'd be like inhaling foam? Or is it like pretty known that like don't do that?
I'm like thinking because most kids that grow up here, like we don't even know what real snow is or like what snowing is. And so I think we just understand like it's not real. So it's more like they treat it like bubbles, like they play in it, but yeah, they definitely don't eat it is what happens. That's so funny. I've never even thought of that.
I mean, I'm just coming from a place where we get pretty good, decent snow. I mean, we're not like in the mountains in Colorado or anything by any means, but like we do get a decent amount of snow usually every season. So like, that's what you teach your kids here. You're like, oh, stick out your tongue and let the snowflakes fall on your tongue. Like that's normal occurrences for here.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Yeah, no, definitely avoid sticking your tongue out here. It's not real. But anyways, that was our weekend. How was yours?
What did I do? My goodness, like my brain from being sick for so long, I swear I have like brain fog. And I literally just have bronchitis. So I still sound like a man and recovering over here. Still coughing, but feel okay. I'm, my breathing is better and stuff. But see, what did we do this weekend? Oh, so if some of you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, my daughter suckered my mother into buying a ginormous deer for our front yard that it lights up, and it was on sale, and we got the display because it was literally the only one left. But we're kind of a little nuts with like our outdoor decorations. So we now have a ginormous deer in the front of our yard.
I didn't see this. That. How did I miss this update? Because I would have definitely made a comment. So I'm sad because one of our neighbors just got a huge deer and we were driving around last night and I'm like, where the heck did that come from?
Well, I mean, I feel like we've been really wanting to add something to the front, and we really like the idea of the light up deer. Mm-hmm. But none of them have like looked good, like they have to look good. And like, I really wanted a gold one, but they were like $100 more. So that was out. And so we ended up with a white one, but it like sparkled. And in the daytime, oh my gosh, we came home today and it was like sparkling because the sun was hitting it. And it was just like this, like, it reminded me of like Christmas Vacation or something where like,
it all lights up.
So we did that and we ran just a bunch of errands. I don't feel like we did anything. So, I ended up at Barnes & Noble and that's like, oh man, I could literally spend hours in that store. But because I was with my child and my mom, I knew they were pushing me to get out of the store. But I did find some cute things, and I really wanted to buy some books, but I'm like trying not to buy books because I have Kindle Unlimited right now. So I'm trying to be really good. Pretty low-key weekend. So yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what Nick told me and like scared me to death about books? He's like,
Do I want to
so
know? Don't
no,
ruin.
right. So one night he's just like, so what would you do if the internet went out? And so I like really was like just thinking, I'm like, I, obviously couldn't work, but I was like, yeah, it'd be fine. Cause I like print out my recipes and stuff. He's like, how would you read your books? And I was like, and I paused and I like almost had a mini heart attack. I was like, so are you telling me I need to buy all the physical books because if I can't access Kindle? And he's like, no, that's not what I meant. I'm like, no, that's totally what you meant. And so do not get mad when I buy hundreds of books now.
When your door is filled with Amazon packages.
But it's actually like scaring me. Like, I'm like, what if that were to happen? Or like, I don't know. Because I read so many books. Like that's,
Well, and that just brings me back to like the book that I DNF'd, which is, for those who don't read, it's considered do not finish. And it wasn't because it was a bad book, but it was literally about this guy who was told that it was the end of the world and like was in this bunker for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And like it was just this like creepo guy who literally just sent him down there and kidnapped him and told him that was his way of like not getting him to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he thought that like everyone was, not there and like the end of the world was happening. And I'm like, the guy kept like giving him books and like bringing books. So he was super smart because like that's all he did was read books. But I'm like, maybe we should start stockpiling on books. Oh my God.
Yes, we should start stockpiling books. And it gave us the thumbs up. So absolutely.
For all our listeners who can't see our beautiful faces, we're in this app right now and the freaking thumbs up sign keeps happening on when I'm talking. Only when I'm talking.
Only when you're talking.
And they all know that I can't stand thumbs up in real life. Like I hate the emoji. Don't ever send me a thumbs up. But anyway, just for people who can't see our beautiful faces to know what we're talking about. That would be awful. And I hope we never have a day where the internet goes out. And that would be bad because we rely on the internet for everything.
Yeah. So anyways, that's it. That was our weekends. Not super eventful. I went to a bookstore though too, and it made me sad because it was the bookstore we went to together, and
that was the best bookstore, and it was so
good.
Cute, and like you could just sit down. I wish they had like lounge areas where you could just like hang out and sit down and actually read.
Yeah.
That would have made the bookstore like a million times better, but like it was already a pretty freaking cool bookstore. Tell them where it was.
Oh, so it's called the Writer's Block in downtown Las Vegas, and it's amazing. Like
it's next to a coffee shop.
Well, yeah, there's the coffee shops inside it, and they have like writing classes. So there's that whole other side to it that we didn't go into, and there's like full-on classes for all age levels. So like young kids, middle school, high school, and so I may have one of the girls take like a weekend class, and it's all free. It's all by like authors who just like are donating their time.
That's really cool.
Super cool.
So is that setting a pretty high expectation? Should we transition to our topic?
Yes, let's do it.
So I just really want to know if that's like a realistic expectation you're setting for yourself to send your kids to a writing class. Like, come on, share the realism here.
Well, on that same note, so earlier in this year, all three of my kids were in like sports or activities, and I kind of stopped that for November and December. I'm like, we have too much going on. So they all kindly reminded me this weekend that those activities need to restart in like January. And I had a mini panic attack because I was so busy with all three of them being in activities. And so now that you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, sure, we're going to do writing too. Like, why not? Because I will say, though, that's on the weekends. So all their other activities are during the week. So it would be nice to find something on the weekend where I could balance that with Nick helping take or stay home with the other kids.
Yeah. So I can relate to like the overabundance of activities.
Overcommitting.
Overcommitting. And I feel like in my head, that's where like I fail, right? Like my expectations, because I think I can handle it all. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to go over great. And
Yep.
99% of the time it does. But then I get burnt out and then I get exhausted
Mm-hmm.
and just need to I crave being home. I want to get back into routine and needing that home life again.
Yeah, that's how I am. And then I go from all to nothing because then I'm just we're done. I need to not do anything. And it's I'm two different people. I sign them up for all this stuff and I'm yeah, this is going to be great. And then it gets to doing it all. And I'm whoa, we are gone every single day out of the week.
Yeah.
And, it's just hard to do that.
So that's about to be happening over here because ice skating is starting back up. We just enrolled her in karate.
Oh, fun.
And so, well, I shouldn't say we enrolled her. We're doing a trial to see if she likes it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on another day. And our co-op friends, which I keep calling them co-op friends, but they're not they're from our first original co-op and they're just friends of ours. But we meet at a library and that's going to be starting up. So that's on another day. So I feel every day there's going to be something happening, whether it's in the evening or homeschool related. And I just feel it's going to send me to burnout phase pretty quick.
Yeah. So what I do, because I'm the same way and I know I get burnt out. So I am gracious with myself. So I know my kids want to do this and I'm going to do it. But it's okay, we're going to commit to it for 3 months. So I just know my life's going to be insane for 3 months. But then at the same time, I'm a little more lax with school, curriculum. Because I'm a true believer, if a kid's good at something, if my kid's good at volleyball, then they want to do that, then we should be spending a lot of time focusing on that. And we can do that in homeschool. So that may be where we're not doing 100 extra activities or art projects or unit studies. We may make that trade-off. And we also might make the trade-off where I'm not cooking dinner. We may start going for those easy meals or eating out just because that's the season that we're going to be in for those 3 months. And then we switch back. Then we're homebodies for 3 months. We start doing more schoolwork and, it's just kind of what is it? The season we're in? Yeah. So it's we're in busy seasons and then we go into slow seasons. It's kind of how we deal with it.
Well, I like the idea behind committing to it for a certain amount of time, because then you have that in the back of your head, you're going, okay, it's a timeline now, and 1 more month, and then we can take a break or we can figure out what's next if they want to continue doing that or if they want to try something else. But I love you added in the importance of pursuing what interests them the most, because that is honestly the beauty of homeschool. That is why we homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
Is having that freedom. And we don't know if they're going to have a career or a job later in life where teaching them hardcore, I don't know, math, for instance, or will even be a thing or need to be a thing. And why, if your kid loves to do hair, let's push them to do hair. Why do they have to have these big elaborate jobs and then they go on to be miserable, as they can see a lot of parents at certain points in their life where they're unhappy in their careers because they're not doing what they love.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's, if we go back to talking about public school, that's what's told in public school, you're going to college. I remember that in high school. I was in classes preparing for college and I'm what if that's not for me? But you feel wrong if you don't pursue that path.
Right.
And so that's a huge thing. If my kid's going to be the next, I don't know, karate master, whatever those words are, then we're going to spend 3 days a week doing karate. And that's what he's going to excel in versus, studying for tests so he can ace that, SAT or whatever they do.
Yeah. And do you ever wonder if you think about it? Maybe the reason that a lot of the kids in public school that are so busy and so back and forth with all the activities is because deep down their parents want them to find something that they're passionate about, that they know they're not getting out of the school system.
Right.
Let's face it, a lot of kids aren't coming home and saying, I want to do math when I get home.
Right.
They're trying to find their passion and what they love because they want them to focus on that too.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a whole other thing. I don't know how parents do it with their kids in public school. I don't know how kids do it. Because they're at school for 8 hours. They have homework. Sports are hours long in the evening.
Right.
So like that's exhausting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't
that's
do that.
exactly why I want to homeschool, because I didn't want that life.
Yeah. And so that's where I take advantage of it. Even though I know I'll get overwhelmed and I will have to take a pause, at least we have the opportunity where we can do that.
Right.
And not burn our kids out. I think it's more important not burning them out.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, if they're happy and they're enjoying it, it's more enjoyable for us too, you know. But if we're dragging them there because, you know, we want them because we paid for the class and you're going to take it, you're going to do the full 10-week session or whatever it is, then, you know, they're not, if they don't love it, why do we put a price on those things, you know? Like, I don't know. It's a lot. And I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to make it into something that it's not sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we think we have to do it.
Yeah. So if you ever met my dad, he would call me a professional sports quitter because I tried every single sport growing up and I just don't have it in me. And so this poor guy probably bought me every starter pack you need for sports, paid everything, but he let me quit. And I'm the same way with my kids. Like if we're at a point to where they truly are not enjoying something, well, we will quit. But I also am cautious then too, like signing up long-term for things. So like where we do all of our activities, thankfully it's month to month. It's like you only have to pay for a month at a time. And so I'm much more comfortable doing that versus like where you would pay for an entire season and then your kid quits 2 weeks in.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm the opposite, where I loved sports, was good at sports, didn't pursue them like I should have throughout high school as much. And I really, truly miss that as an adult, because I feel like if I were to have kept going, I would have kept in shape. I would have kept doing those things, and like I didn't. And so now when I try to get out the volleyball and play with my kid, I'm like worried I'm going to like, you know, tear a muscle in my arm.
Seriously, we get hurt now.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and those are the things that I would love for her to do, because I see that she can be really good at it. She just has that attitude of like, no, I suck and I'm going to quit, because it'll be like one thing that she can't master. And it's like, no, you don't just like join a basketball team and say that you just want to learn how to shoot. Like, you have to learn how to do all of the things, even if you don't like to do them. But that's what makes you good. That's what makes you a good player. So I hope that she latches on to something that's in the back of my head, only because I would love to be able to like help her. Mm-hmm. Or I'd love to even be a coach one day, but I don't know if I have it in me either.
All right, Nickie, one day we're going to start our own kids sports team. You can be the coach and I'll be there for support.
Yes, exactly. What about like how do you manage your expectations within your homeschool outside of like sports and extracurricular stuff?
So I was thinking about this because I made a lot of mistakes, and it kind of boils down to buying curriculum because that kind of sets the tone, right? Like you buy all this stuff and you feel like you have to do it, and you could not stress yourself out. Don't buy curriculum that's not going to work. So there was this one curriculum that I really wanted to try, but off the bat, it was 180 lessons. I had to stop myself and be realistic. We don't struggle meeting 120 lessons, but we take our whole school year to do 120 lessons. So how in the world would it be realistic to try to get 180 days of lessons done? Now you could spread it over multiple school years, but I'm pretty good on like, I want it done in our school year. So I think right off the bat is purchasing the resources or curriculum that's going to support whatever goals you have in your homeschool.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you overbuy as well, and not just buy what you're excited to try to do or try to add into your homeschool, but when you overbuy and you have all of these options and you're like, I spent money on that, I need to use it. Mm-hmm. Or the opposite of like, oh my God, I spent all this money and like, I don't know how to incorporate it. So it just gets pushed to the side, and then it overwhelms you just sitting on your shelf, knowing that you spent the money and it's just sitting on the shelf.
Yep.
I mean, I struggle immensely with expectations in our homeschool because especially at the beginning of the year, I have all these like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm just, because I'm so excited to start our year and like all the fancy, shiny things. And then I get into a routine and I'm just like, oh, we don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't like that. Things that I passionately want to learn,
Mm-hmm.
I almost like want her to learn it. And then it ends up always being a fail because she's not into it, or she's not into it yet, or never. And then I'm over here going, okay, adjust, delete. But I would say one of the tools that I think has helped me and you stay motivated, stay on track is Homeschool Planet. And I feel like we're a broken record, but like if you guys don't watch our individual channels, we have talked about Homeschool Planet a lot because that is the only way I was able to stay on track this year and actually like nail our goals.
I agree.
For those who are listening who don't know what Homeschool Planet is, it is an online planner. And they have, there's a million things you can do on the website, but they work with curriculum companies to give you the lesson plans for their curriculum. And so if you're doing, for instance, BJU Press. You can Google BJU Press within their search, not Google, but within Homeschool Planet's search for curriculum and find the one or the level that you're on and select it, and you can purchase, I think they're usually like $7 or something for.
Yeah, it just depends on, I think, how intensive the curriculum you're buying is.
Either way, it's super affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy it and it literally will import. Yeah. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Import like the curriculum and the lesson plans into your calendar. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is arrange it by like the days. If you don't want to do a lesson, you can move it around, you can skip it, you can delete it. It has saved so much time in both of our homeschools to just log on to the computer, print out our week because it's already made for us. And we just have to look it over and make sure that's what we're going to do or that's what we have time to do. But I feel like it's made us look so far ahead or behind and just see, okay, are we caught up? Like, what lesson are we at? And like, it's just all organized into one place. I don't know. I think I'm going on a rant about Homeschool Planet, but I think we both love it so much, and it's just worked so well in our homeschools that have probably really kept us on track for our goals.
Yeah, I agree. And not only kept us on track, but helped with that overbuying or over planning, because what we both did is we planned out our school year. Well, I can look ahead into February or March and say, oh, you know what? We're going to be ending our science curriculum in March, but we still are going to be schooling for 2 months. So then I can realistically say we could probably do 1 or 2 unit studies. Whereas before Homeschool Planet, I'd be like, sure, we can do 6 unit studies. Why not? So it really keeps us on track with our schedule, what's really happening. You can skip days. So that too, it's pushing curriculum if you're skipping days. So it is a game changer. I think we both have stopped overbuying by using it because we know nothing's going to fit. Like we know what we can actually achieve in a day. And we have like a system telling us what we can actually achieve.
Right. Because if it doesn't all fit on one page,
it's not happening.
It's not happening. And I have to scale it, not going to lie. When I print it, I do typically have to scale down like maybe a line or 2, but I know that that's just like me over typing something.
Yeah.
Because you can enter your own lessons as well. It's not just like you have to purchase curriculum lesson plans to them. But I think it holds us accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then we check the box, and you can share it if you have a kid who's a teenager who has a computer or a device. You can share the calendar with them and assign them links within their assignments and whatever they have to do for that day. So I'm excited about taking this further and when she's older and being able to use it even from that perspective as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that will always be in our homeschool. I can't imagine. I don't know how I did it before.
Yeah, same. I was a mess. That's what I was before.
Go watch our videos from a year ago and see how all over the place we were with our schedules and goals. And so I do, and I think that's important to share too. If you've been on either of our journeys, you know that we've changed a lot. We are a lot less impulsive. We are a lot more realistic. And I think that comes with just experience, right? Knowing what's going to work, time and trying things. And that's, as much as we say don't overbuy, it's almost like we had to like understand like what was realistically going to work in our homeschool. And that may not work in somebody else's, but that's what we had to go through to get where we're at today.
Well, and time again, I also hear from people who, you know, they don't find that perfect curriculum. Yeah. And so they've tried and tried and tried. And honestly, it sets you up for creating your own and figuring out how you're going to homeschool your family by making your own type of curriculum that's going to fit for your learner. So tell me about some of your like goals for like within your homeschool that's not necessarily labeled to a year, but just as like a all around goal.
The way I set goals and I guess expectations in our homeschool is I'm always looking in the long run. And so, I mean, I'm pretty planner crazy. So I have an entire Excel for all of my kids on their entire schooling and what would need to be completed for them to like graduate with our state requirements and college acceptance. And where that may seem crazy, because I do change curriculum, I do change plans, what it helps me with is knowing right now in these younger grades, I'm doing everything fine. I don't need to be doing a certain curriculum or certain hours of something because I know that's coming in a couple years for like an older child. It calms me down in the meantime. I know what we're doing is fine. But then I also know in a couple years, this would be an expectation if they want to receive this credit. So I guess planning it out so you can kind of take it easier in the younger years because it's honestly more important, I think, just spending time with them, building character rather than acing a test in the younger grades.
Yeah, I am complete opposite then because I have not even looked into future. And I mean, I guess I would need to watch somebody's like step by step in how they planned that because just thinking about it seems super overwhelming to create something like that. Like, I mean, I'm an office person, but like, not office. What the heck is the word I'm looking for?
Oh, no. If you say you're a technical person again, I might die. But anyways, to save all of you that problem, I have an entire video and Excel that I made and explain how I did it, what I did. And it's very simple. And you only have to like check it once a year once it's established. And I'm doing an updated one soon. So.
Well, that's good to know. I'll be stalking your channel for that.
I'm like surprised you haven't already been like, send me the Excel, please.
Yeah, my brain just doesn't function on the level of like that far ahead. I feel like it does on other topics, but like when it comes to homeschool, I can barely like figure out what the heck I'm going to do for the rest of the year. Even though it's laid out for me, I still have like in the back of my mind going, oh, is this going to work? Am I going to pull this? Am I going to switch this? And then that would confuse my brain into going, oh crap, what's the long-term goal? You know, like it just, maybe I should just clarify that I suck at making realistic goals in my homeschool.
Yeah. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe if you do set goals, you're setting yourself up to fail. I think ultimately, like if you really like, and that's what I don't, when you kind of asked me that, like I don't have any short-term goals because I have to be so flexible. Yeah. That I think maybe I did have goals in the beginning when I first started homeschooling, and I think I just failed. And it was like not a great feeling. We already have enough pressure.
Right. And that's just it. It's the pressure because then once you set a goal, like in the back of your head, you're really trying to aim for that goal. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if they're really not realistic or it's such a high goal, like you're going to be, you know, hurting yourself trying to make it happen. But I don't know. I'm not, because I am like you, I'm pretty flexible and I like to change things up. Goals are hard when it comes to curriculum or like homeschool. Now, if I was talking about like emotional goals, or, you know, like hoping my child is able to learn a certain character trait or, you know, something like that. Like that would to me be easier to accomplish because that isn't like a huge pressure. It's more just, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, that's interesting because I would never even think to make goals like that. Like goals to me are very data, like very like to a point. Yeah, I'm not a personal, emotional goal type person. So I think that's probably why I don't even venture down that road.
Yeah, the goals that I've set like in the past, or I'll put a word to my year. I'll say this is going to be the year of adventure, which coincidentally was my word this year. And let me just tell you, we did it. Like we nailed it. We went on however many trips and did all the things and saw all the things. Like we nailed it. It didn't have to be about school per se. It was more just like something I wanted us because it got us to spend time together. It got us to explore and just coming back to what's important.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So maybe we should have an episode on our 2024 goal.
Yeah.
And it's going to force me to make some because I'm definitely I'm not a resolution or goal person at all. So
yeah,
this may be interesting.
Well, I think that about covers it for our expectations and goals. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
We want to hear from you. Your feedback is invaluable to us. So let us know your thoughts on today's episode. Share your topic suggestions or ask us any burning questions you may have. Your input shapes the direction of our podcast, and we're here to create content that resonates with you.
If you enjoy listening to homeschool stories, curriculum reviews, advice, struggles, and overall mom life, this podcast is for you. But so is our YouTube channels.
Don't forget to check out our individual channels. We share even more content, insights, and a behind-the-scenes look at our lives. Thanks for listening.